Greetings, programs. Welcome back to ArcNeo Reviews. So, today we're going to actually do a bit of a double feature. We're going to look at the new Studio Series 86 Arcee, as well as a figure I've actually owned for a very long time that I've meant to do a video on, but just never got around to it. The Generations Thrilling 30 Arcee. There's a lot to go over in terms of comparison with these two, and unlike my other videos where I've reviewed one, reviewed the other, then do a comparison, I'm just going to do it all in one video here. Give this a shot, see how it goes. So right off the bat, we are just going to go ahead and start with the vehicle mode comparisons, because I think the vehicle mode confused some people. I've heard a lot of people calling this figure a retooling of this figure. This is not the case. Now, yes, there are a couple shared parts. Obviously, these front ends are the same. The Autobot insignia is even almost in the same space. Obviously, the newer one has less paint, which is lame. But, those parts are the same, and the wheels are the same. But once you flip them over, you start to see that things are actually quite a bit different once you start paying attention to where different parts of the figure are, and even the use of other parts. So there's quite a few differences here. But both of them, they roll just fine. Obviously, this figure also comes with these two swords. I'll look at them more in the robot mode section. For now, I'm going to go ahead and actually just transform this figure fairly quick. I'm not too fussed about my transformations being super in-depth like I have been, because a whole bunch of people now just make transformation videos. I'm having a hard time getting this pistol out. This thing is very hard to get out of this figure in the while in storage. But yeah, not only is there that, the fact that that's a whole thing now, Hasbro has, complete records of basically every Transformers directions on their website. And no, it's not a, click here, go to this link or whatever, but literally, you can just put in, Generations Thrilling 30 Arcee instructions, and within, the first 3 Google results, you're going to have just a PDF from Hasbro on this figure's instructions. So I'm not going to really fuss around with trying to make that section of the videos, much of a thing, because I'm not that good at it. We all know that, and B, it's whatever. So instead of trying to walk through transformations anymore, I'm just going to do them, and you can see, if I run into any parts that, get frustrating. I figure that's kind of that can work as sort of a middle ground. And obviously, this figure is pretty straightforward and to the point to get transformed. A few things that don't always want to peg together, but yeah, she's pretty quick. She is basically, a robot underneath a car, which is always the common complaint with Arcee figures. But we'll go over her in detail in a moment, because, like I said, we're looking at 2 figures. So we're going to go ahead and get both of them transformed. See how much time I don't spend on things when I just move on with it. And then I turn the legs the wrong way around. As well as, I will say, part of why I'm doing this is I feel like sometimes going into detail about every step of the transformation, it makes the transformation seem more complicated than it really is. Because, you get into something that's hard to explain with words, but the actual doing of it is, literally nothing. So Okay, and fold up, fold down, slide down, peg in, and peg in. Alright, and there we've got this Arcee transformed already. And right off the bat, I will mention, you're going to see this midsection not sticking together very well. Mine has some looseness issues. Thankfully, I can even do this the nice way to fix it and actually pop out these two pins to, put something in there, tighten it up a little bit. I have elected to not do that for this video, simply to point out the fact that, hey, this is a QC thing you might run into. Be aware of that. I'm not going to say all of them are like that. I've seen some that aren't. Mine is. But go ahead and side by side. Again, they do look fairly similar, but here's where a lot more of the differences come out. Because, yeah, parts of the chest are the same, but then, obviously there's this whole extra section here for the weird, very, very human lower torso of this Arcee versus, that same hinge is now doing a completely separate job on this version of the figure. The backpacks are engineered entirely differently. There's... Oh, I realized I just forgot to stop. Oops. No wonder this isn't sitting correctly. There we go. Cleans up a little bit more. So, there. Fair comparison there. Posability on these two is effectively the same, except as you would expect and hope, you do get more posability on the newer figure than you do the original. Here, we'll start with the original really quick. You got a ball joint at the head. You get a bit of, side to side, quite a bit up, some down, rotation. She does have light-piped blue eyes. They're very small eyes. It's hard to see. I'm not going to bother trying to deal with that. Ball joint at the shoulder. The arms could go all the way around if not for the backpack. Arms can only go out about that far. Rotation at the bicep. Pretty deep elbow bend, all things considered, for a single joint. Her hips are a little weird because there is this kind of outward joint you can use for some things to get you clearance, so you've got that, but she can kick forward that far, back only a little bit. If you mess with this, you can get her legs to go out a little bit more, but no splits or anything. Single joint here at the knee for a pretty deep knee bend. Back and forth on the ankle. Obviously, she's got some nice little picks of, blue and black paint to break up the bright pink and white going on. Little speck of lipstick paint, actually. A little bit of gray on the little Leia bun vents on her head. So, you've got all that on this one. On this version, the head is roughly the same. It is a different mold. She can look down better than the original. I have a slightly oddly shaped ball joint, so the head likes to look forward more than it likes to look to the side. That's fine, frankly. Arms can still only go out so far. Backpack is still in the way of certain parts of, articulation. The hand itself, the entire forearm, is a completely new mold, so you can see, while this one has a squared off hand, this one has a normal, 5mm round hand, which is really nice. You have a waist rotation now that you didn't have. If this joint wasn't loose, you would actually have a usable crunch there, which is really cool, I think. You don't have the the outward joint for the hips. Obviously, that was more for transformation on the Generations, T30 But she can move her legs out quite a bit further. She's got, still nice deep knee bends. Foot goes back and forth, and even has an ankle tilt now. Has a lot of an ankle tilt. Her foot can turn upside down. So, you know, aside from this garbage I'm dealing with on the QC, frankly, a lot of improvements on this version compared to the old one. Though I will say, I missed the black and little specks of blue that this version has over this one. Yes, this is better articulated. And the one thing I will always complain about, they constantly do this with Arcee figures. I don't know why. She always has this like kind of gentle, you know, motherly expression on her face. Have you seen the angry girl that's on the box art of these figures? Give me the angry girl. That part annoys me. Accessory-wise, both of them come with this gun, actually, unpainted for the new one, because, of course, paint is apparently expensive. And then the Thrilling 31 also comes with this weirdness in many colors, pegs on the side and stuff, as well as obviously the swords I mentioned earlier. She is covered in ports for weapon storage. Obviously you've got these back here for while she's in car mode. You can go ahead, you can, you know, peg the swords on her hips. You can peg them up here on the car. You can peg her blaster on the car. You can put the gun on her hip. You've got a lot of options here with arming this version of Arcee up. This one you can do that, or you can use the side and do that. Yeah, it's not as cool, I won't lie. But there is also one thing about this figure that's pretty neat. Now, if anyone remembers this thing, which I'm not even willing to transform again, I'm just leaving it in car mode, you will remember that you could pop off half of that backpack to make the figure not ridiculous. Well, while I already feel like this is a manageable level of backpack for an Arcee figure, you actually just have a friction hinge, you know, I guess you call it, I'm not sure. But right there you've got one of those hinges that's actually very, very easy to just pop off. In which case you now have a much cleaner Arcee. Yes, this is a problem for me trying to do this because of these loose joints, and that backpack is actually what holds her torso together in my case. Again, I will be popping these hinges out and fixing this. I'll probably put something there too to tighten that up. But if not for that, I mean, holy cow, you want a clean little Arcee, there you go. So, you know, overall, this is a bit of a, you know, kind of pick your poison thing. Neither of these are frankly as good as I would hope or want for Arcee. I say as I rip her arm off trying to stick her back, well, back onto her. Get all this shoved back in. Okay, there we go. And arm. Yeah, Arcee frankly does deserve better than these, you know, entire car on her back figures like we have gotten for so long. Basically every official version of an Arcee figure has ended up being that, unless it's, you know, motorcycle Arcee. But neither of these are bad figures. Obviously, I like the colors of this one more. I like the transformation and the articulation of this one more. I would almost bet money that if it's not out already, Toy Hacks is working on a sticker sheet to give this version some of the colors of this one, you know, break up the white and pink a little bit more. you know, if you need an RC, you know, a G1 RC, this is a perfectly fine figure. It is a million times better than this thing. This is still like one of the worst. This is one of the worst things I've seen in terms of a Transformer ever. Like, its only advantage is, yeah, it does technically have a cleaner car mode because it's just an entire shell over the back of a figure. These are both fine. If you want to track down this version, she seems to be pretty readily available, not too expensive, and she's probably going to go down in price now because of this one being out. And obviously, this figure wasn't even supposed to be out yet, but Amazon decided to start shipping early, so there you go. Neither of them are bad, but they are a little compromised, to be honest. You know, believe it or not, I don't always just like everything. I usually do, and yes, I do still like these, but I'm not instantly in love with them like I normally am. But either way, just my 2 cents on these. Figured I'd finally get around to talking about this figure and throw in the new one just because. So, thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.